In the 22-23 season, Martinelli burst into life at Arsenal. In the Premier League alone, he scored 15 goals and got 5 assists, being one of Arsenal's best players in a season where we went from hoping to get a top 4 spot to challenging for the Premier League. And at that time, Martinelli was just 21 years old, leaving many Arsenal fans, including me, to expect him to only just keep getting better, and with the additions of players like Rice and Havertz in the summer, making clear our intention to challenge yet again, we all expected yet another huge season from the Brazilian winger. But last season, despite Arsenal being so much better than we were in the 22-23 season, seeing us push Man City to the final day, Martinelli on a personal level took a couple steps back in his performance and his developments, playing 44 games, yet just scoring 8 goals and getting 5 assists in all competitions, compared to the previous season where Martinelli played 46 games, getting 15 goals and getting 6 assists. And now with Trossard, to a lot of people, being the better player between him and Martinelli, and being the player that should start ahead of Martinelli at left wing going into the season, Martinelli's value on the transfer market still being at a very high 70 million euros, meaning that Arsenal could potentially sell him for around 80 million pounds. What should Arsenal actually do with Martinelli this summer and this upcoming season? Should we keep him as a starter despite Trossard being such a good player? Should we make him a rotational player? Should he compete with Trossard for the left wing position? Or should we, dare I say, cash in on him and allowing us to spend much more money in the summer transfer window than we expected we'd be able to do? Well, that's what we'll be talking about today. So what's going on, everyone? You are listening to Gunner Central here. I hope you're all doing well. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Now, first things first, because I know some of you were very confused as to why I even mentioned the possibility of Arsenal cashing out on Martinelli. No, I don't think Arsenal should sell Martinelli this summer, like at all. Unless an amazing offer of like 100 million pounds comes in, which it definitely won't, then Arsenal should absolutely not sell Gabriel Martinelli. He's only 23 years old. Yes, he's had a rough season last season, but he's still such a good player, and we aren't exactly littered with depth and talent out wide, so it would be just stupid to sell him, especially with the fact that Martinelli is coming off of a below par season. To me, and I'm sure to everyone watching this video, it would make no sense to sell Martinelli unless a disgustingly huge offer comes in, again, say 100 million pounds. So no, don't sell Martinelli this summer, Arsenal, please, I'm begging you. So if we're not going to sell him, what should Arsenal do with Gabriel Martinelli? Should Arsenal look to make him a starter despite coming off of the below par season he just did? Well, I think this is a pretty obvious answer. I'm sure all of you will agree, but the answer is no. The best player should be able to play in the position. So, based off last season, Trossard should be the starter until Martinelli outperforms him. Simple as that. To me, Trossard and Gabriel Martinelli should be at a constant battle for the left wing position, and if anyone else is brought in, if they can play that position, well, then they should be competing as well to play left wing. I've said this in a previous video, but I also think Emil Smith-Rowe should be given more minutes at left wing. With his ability to run at players and his goal scoring instincts, I think he'd be a really good left winger. But with him likely being sold this summer to Fulham, out of all people, I know Fulham. I'm not going to mention the fact that Smith-Rowe could also play left wing, even though I just did. And I mean, Arsenal are rumored to want another winger this summer to help Saka as a backup, but likely that winger will also be able to play on the left, so that should add yet more depth and more quality out wide, having Trossard, Martinelli, and that winger being a potential left wing option. But regardless of whether you love Martinelli or not, you have to admit this is a huge season for Martinelli. If he has another lackluster season where he struggles to produce consistently, Trossard keeps Martinelli glued to the bench, then this time next year, when Martinelli will be 24 years old and he'll have just 2 years left on his contract, if he underperforms this season, well then, believe it or not, I would actually be behind the idea of selling Gabriel Martinelli. But right now, at the age of just 23, 3 years left on the deal, having yes, an overall bad season last season, but still having some really good performances, and don't forget he got some huge goals last season for us, like against Man City and Liverpool at home, then looking to sell Gabriel Martinelli right now in the summer, or make him a constant bench warmer behind Trossard, well, that makes no sense to me at all. But Martinelli has to perform this upcoming season if we do keep him, which I'm expecting we will do. Especially with all the expectations so high right now on Arsenal coming into the season, Martinelli has little to no room for error, and if Martinelli can add another 15 Premier League goals into this team, well, that will go a huge way in helping Arsenal being able to challenge and potentially win the Premier League, or hopefully win any domestic title. We have to get some silverware, and I think 15 Premier League goals from Martinelli would be very, very helpful. But we just can't have another season where Martinelli is just lackluster, isn't performing, hasn't got a cutting edge, and is getting constantly benched by Trossard. We just can't afford that. And again, if that is the case, well then I'll be very open to selling Martinelli next summer.